Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal Podcast. I'm your host, Cyril Gerald Quinn, recording this on a Tuesday as we talk about, as I discuss the world of sports and pop culture. This will be the last podcast of the month of September. Amazingly, we are almost near October as we near the quarter point of the NFL season. Again, it goes by fast. The NFL season flies before you know it. It will be it'll be Halloween and it'll be Thanksgiving. As always, we're going to begin with the game of the week, an unexpected game of the week. I didn't see this coming when I thought about possible games of the week, but it turned out to be the best game. Very, very high level game between the Washington Commanders and Cincinnati Bengals. Washington coming out on top 38-33 in Cincinnati on Monday night, in which, by the way, I hate the Monday night doubleheader. I despise it. Now, thankfully, the Buffalo Bills did us all a favor and basically put us on the Washington game and Cincinnati game early as they just absolutely manhandle Jacksonville. Jacksonville has some issues, to say the least. 0-3 Jacksonville. There are certain teams that are not going to recover from 0-2, 1-2, 0-3. Sorry, Jacksonville is not going to recover from 0-3. They're just not. I will say right here, right now, that Jacksonville is finished. That team looks dead. They look like dead as a doorknob. So I'm ending their season right here, right now. But this was a very high level game. When you consider the fact that there were no turnovers in this game, and there were only 8 penalties in this game. 8 penalties for about 44 yards. Only 8 penalties. Only 8 penalties for 44 yards between the two teams. So very cleanly played game for the most part. I know Cincinnati had some issues with the red zone that ended up being the difference in the game. But the story of this game, without question, was the just virtuoso performance and the coming of age performance of one Jaden Daniels, the second number two overall pick in this year's draft by the Commanders. He was basically near perfect, 21 of 23 for 254 yards, 2 touchdown passes. He had a touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and made the 2 biggest throws of the night. 2 of the biggest throws of the night, both to Terry McLaurin, 55-yard completion, which only a handful of quarterbacks in this league could make. And then the game clinching touchdown pass that in essence put the game away to Terry McLaurin, that put the game away and saw it the victory to make it 38-26. Listen, we all know the physical skills. This guy, physically, in terms of making throws, can make any throw physically. Cannon for an arm. We know the athleticism. We understand. We get it from that standpoint. What I've been impressed with him, and again, I don't care. And I've mentioned this to people when I watch him play. I don't care about the running. That's not what's going to take him. That is not what's going to, in essence, take this franchise to the next level, possibly get this franchise back into championship and to becoming contenders again. It's what he does inside the pocket that matters the most. And in this particular game, he was spectacular in the pocket. He was great in the pocket. Talk about third down, fourth down efficiency. The Commanders were 8 for 12 between third and fourth downs. That's where the game was won. They were 8 for 12. Now I know Cincinnati was 7 for 11, so they didn't stop Cincinnati on the other side. But when you talk about quarterbacking at a high level, it's moving the change. Of course, staying on the field, keeping getting the defense worn down, and making plays when they absolutely had to be made. It had to be made, and he made plays when they absolutely had to be made in this game. Every big play that had to be made, he made it. Now, what I don't like, again, what I don't like In 3 games, he has 38 rushes. That's too many. You're talking about 12 rushes, over 12 rushes a game. That's way too many. He took some hits. He slid this. He slid a couple times in this game. Maybe one time. He also took some hits too. He's not this guy. He's lanky, 6'4", 210 pounds. So he's going to get stronger. He's going to end up putting on some weight as his body develops in terms of physically and doing NFL training, things of that nature. I get it, but you're not Cam Newton. Like, he's not 6'5", 250, 260 pounds. Like, you're just not taking you're not going to have a long career taking those type of hits. They have got to get in his ear, and don't wait till year 2, 3, 4, 5. No, get in his head now. Of, hey, we're gonna run you. I want to keep that number between 5 to 8 rushes, and mainly have it be situational. Like the touchdown he scored, perfect. That didn't get touched. Misdirection had everybody fooled him. Probably the cameraman fooled. There are situations where you can use his legs, to really confound the defense, and to actually jumpstart your rushing game, because there should be some open lanes for your running back, with the fear of you having to defend him. But this guy, in terms of his arm talent, this guy has top tier arm talent. He's top tier arm talent. Now, again, they've got to go out there and build a just top offensive line around him. They've got to lean on the rushing game. They've tried to run the ball. The first 3 games of the season, they Commanders have tried to run the ball, made an attempt to run the ball. They haven't thrown the ball. They threw the ball. They ran the ball 32 times, and 32 rushes to 23 passes. But again, 12 of those rushes were by him. Only 16 for Brian Robinson Jr. Right? I mean, I know Robinson Jr. because he got shut down, 16 for 33. But you need more. You need to lessen his load as far as the hits that he's taking. That's all there is to it. He's taking too many hits. It's not about the sacks. It's just quarterback hits. But you saw why this guy was drafted number 2 overall pick. You saw what he did at LSU, why people are excited in this city, in this franchise, about his future prospects. And it's been a long time. I mean, even listen, in August, it's been over a decade. I remember, RG3's 2012 season was spectacular before the injuries. I mean, that performance in Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, we'll never forget that. I mean, at that time, you remember Jerry Jones was just basically had his head in his ass. Jerry Jones had his head in his ass, but he's saying, why is this guy playing? We got to deal with this for the next 10 years. I mean, they were scared to death of what RG3 could possibly become in that 2012. So it's been over a decade since this kind of excitement has been drummed up about a quarterback wearing the Commander uniform. And I think this guy has all the tools to be a big time player. But again, they have got to protect him. They've got to protect him, and they've got to protect him from his. In essence, they have to protect him from himself. As a passer, I already feel that he's ahead at their same stages in their career, that he's ahead of Lamar Jackson. Now, does he have the pure physical ability in terms of speed, the rushing ability that Lamar Jackson has? Probably not. But that doesn't matter. As far as in the pocket and throwing and being comfortable with throwing the ball, I absolutely feel like he's ahead of Lamar Jackson. And we're talking about a guy who's been a 2-time MVP. So, you're looking at this division with quarterbacks. Who would you rather have for the next 5 years in this division of quarterbacks? You would lean towards Jalen Hurts, maybe lean towards a little bit, but Dak. I didn't forgot about the Giant quarterback. To be honest, I forgot. I know the Giants started out relatively well, but this This guy is chance to be special. He really does. And that's a big time win for Washington. Cincinnati, you're going up against a top defensive coordinator. Amarillo is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. He's made, Patrick Mahomes look at times average over the course of we talked about it last week's podcast, how well they defend Kansas City and defend Patrick Mahomes. So you're going against a top. I know again Cincinnati is banged up on the defensive line. I get it. They still have Hendrickson, who's a big time player, and the coordinator throwing all those different looks at him. He's a top defensive coordinator in this league. And to go 21 of 23 on the road, hostile environment. Washington's defense, for the most part, couldn't stop Cincinnati. Cincinnati did have like 450 yards of offense, 436 yards. They were out. Washington was outgained in this game for 436 to 356. So Washington couldn't. Cincinnati moved the ball at will against Washington for the most part, but missed some opportunities in the red zone. But again, Jaden Daniels is the story of this game, and again, Washington has a possible gem on their hands if they can keep him upright, which will be a major talent challenge with the type of athletic ability that he has. Apologies to the Giants fans. I forgot your quarterback. He's not a big name like that. Daniel Jones. I'm sorry, Giant fans, but it's not. We're not talking about Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen here. So Washington gets the win, 38-33. Excellent win for them. They're off to a 2-1 start. They will be hosting or at Tampa. They'll be at Tampa, which should be an interesting game. Not Tampa, excuse me, they lost to Tampa. They will be at Arizona on Sunday, so we'll see if they can get off to a 3-1 start come Sunday. Deep dive, the 3-0 teams. Before we get to my fave four games, we'll look at the 3-0 teams right now. Steelers, Bills, Chiefs, Vikings, Seahawks. Again, still very early in the season. It's still I'm very easy. It's way easier for me to get down on a team than it is for me to overreact if a team is 3-0 or 2-1 or 3-0. Like right now, I just told you that I'm all out on Jacksonville. I'll talk about them later, but I said last week, I just don't. Something's amiss with San Francisco. Now, who's real and who's not? As far as these 3-0 teams, the real teams are Kansas City and Buffalo. They are the real teams. Those two teams are teams that are going to be heard from deep into the playoffs in January, and maybe possibly one of them, possibly even in February. I told you, I picked Kansas City to win it all. Nothing has changed from that standpoint. Buffalo is going to run away with that division. I don't care what the Jets did. The Jets did against a team, a lowly New England team. That Thursday night game meant nothing to me, to be honest with you. So I could absolutely care less about that particular game, that particular performance by the Jets. So against a New England team that's just that doesn't have a quarterback, to be honest with you. But so it's about the Bills and Chiefs. The Chiefs just we'll talk about them later, but they do what the Chiefs do. They're gonna find they could, even despite the fact that Kelsey and Mahomes has been average and Kelsey has been awful, and they're 3-0. They just know how to win games. We'll talk about them later, but they know how to win games. So both those teams know how to win. I mean, the Bills have. I know the Bills haven't gotten to the Super Bowl, haven't won Super Bowl, but they've won their share of regular season games, won a couple playoff games. They understand. Again, they understand how to navigate to this regular season. Bills are playing. Listen, the Bills when the Bills are playing well, they are running the football. It's just that simple. That I equate that with any success that the Bills have is that they are running the football and not telling Josh Allen to go out there and throw the football a million times. And yeah, you can listen. Josh Allen has to be Josh Allen. He has to be great. But you look at him against Jacksonville. 23 of 30, 268, 4 touchdowns. They run the ball 29 times. They throw the ball 31 times. That's the balance. Ran the ball 29 times for 122 yards. Josh Allen only had 6 carries, had 44 yards for 6 carries. You live with that. James Cook, they had a nice balance. They had other guys run the ball, so they ran the ball effectively. Not so much in terms of yards per average because it's only 4.2, but the carries. It's about the carries. They had 29 carries in that particular game. So both the Bills and Chiefs are for sure for real. The Steelers, Vikings, and Seahawks. If you ask me which I have more confidence, which one of those teams that I have more confidence right now, probably the Steelers. I think they have the best coach out of those three. And the defense is, the Steelers defense is playing lights out right now. But I don't trust any of those quarterbacks. Yeah, we're talking about Sam Darnold, Justin Fields, and Geno Smith. I'm sorry. I can't do it with those quarterbacks. Can't take those teams serious having those three quarterbacks. But by the way, if you want to see some great quarterback coaching right now, look no further than what's going on in Minnesota. Like Kevin O'Connell is coaching his ass off in regards to quarterback. That's how you coach a quarterback, and what he's doing with Sam Darnold in Minnesota. That's how you coach a quarterback. Green Bay, same thing with Matt LaFleur and Malik Willis. Loses Jordan Love for a couple of weeks, no problem. Lose a tough game to Philadelphia. Green Bay has taken care of business the last 2 games and found themselves in 2-1. Big game with Minnesota, of course, this week on Sunday. But that's how you coach a quarterback. Like that, you don't. Again, you're not winning a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold or Malik Willis, but you can buy time. In Minnesota's case, this is a season that Minnesota really is like, if there's a such thing as a season to where they have nothing to lose, considering J.J. McCarthy getting hurt, that might have been the best thing that ever happened to him. Him getting hurt and being able to sit a year, you can kind of build up your roster and have him come back to a excellent team next year. So he gets to just sit a year and still get to learn in the locker room. So that could be Minnesota's could be set up for a long time with their current situation, with the foundation that they're building. But if you want to know how to coach a quarterback, just look no further than what Kevin O'Connell is doing with Minnesota. But again, I don't trust any of those three teams. All due respect, Seattle, Minnesota, or Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh probably has the most talent out of those three teams. And of course, with the pedigree with Mike Tomlin, they don't do losing seasons. But I don't see any of those teams getting past the divisional round. Now, could all three of them possibly make the playoffs? Sure. Could 2 of them make the playoffs? Especially the NFC. NFC is not strong this year. It's not looking strong this year. So Pittsburgh, if you're Minnesota and Seattle, is huge to start out 3-0. I mean, matter of fact, Seattle already has a 2-game lead in the division already. Like when you look at the division, Seattle. Seattle's 3-2 already with a 2-game lead in the division. Everybody in that division outside Seattle is 1-2. So that we can't. I mean, even though the season's young, still it's young and it's early. That's still big to have a 2-game lead already as we head into a week number 4. But the Bill again, old habits die hard. The Bills the Chiefs and Bills are still the Chiefs and Bills, and wouldn't be surprised if those two teams met up sometime down the road in the playoffs. 34. Got to begin with the Cowboys in Baltimore. This game showed the flaws of both these teams. It was a fun game to watch because the Cowboys were getting their asses handed to them, and then Baltimore does what Baltimore has been doing for the better part of the last couple of years, and that's blowing fourth quarter leads. They've blown like 7 fourth quarter leads since 2022, which is really remarkable when you think about it. And a lot of them, and most of those have been at home, by the way. This game was no different. Baltimore, this game shouldn't even been close. Baltimore in this game, they win 28-25 in Dallas. Baltimore in this game had 274 yards rushing in this game, okay? They 45 carries for 274 yards. They only threw the ball 15 times in this game. Again, this game shouldn't even been close. They absolutely fell asleep at the wheel in the fourth quarter. They get outscored 19-0 in the fourth quarter, including not being on recovering an offside kick. So they nearly almost choked this game away when it even shouldn't even been close. Forget about Dak's stats; those were empty calorie numbers. You put up those numbers when the game was completely out of reach. 379 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. They had to throw the ball 51 times. Dallas had no semblance of a running game. Derrick Henry, 25 carries for 151 yards, just ran all over Dallas. Lamar Jackson, 14 carries for 87 yards. So they did whatever they wanted to do. And again, Lamar Jackson only threw the ball 15 times in this game. So here's the thing about the Cowboys. And again, Cowboys are 1-2, and they're a bad 1-2. They've looked awful in their last 2 games at home. They've gotten embarrassed at home. Going back to the playoffs, they've gotten embarrassed 3 straight home games. Going back to the playoffs, we go back to that Green Bay game. What transpired last week against New Orleans, and now, of course, what transpired this week against Baltimore. This is a soft franchise. They're soft at the point of attack in terms of you being able to run the ball on them. They are soft as in the locker room. They are soft in terms of their front office, ownership, general manager, who are one and the same. They're just soft. This team has no mental toughness. They fold like ice cream in June. They melt like ice cream in June. It's remarkable. Like, they are so soft. And I have zero. You talk about having no confidence in a franchise or in a team to forget about competing for a Super Bowl, but just to even make the playoffs is going to be a major. It will be a serious major hurdle for them to even make the playoffs. I'm saying, can they make the playoffs? Sure. But I'm telling you, when I mean I have no confidence in the franchise, I have no confidence in this team right now. You have a franchise that's so dysfunctional that you have the owner talking about, the players' dicks and the size of the players' dicks. Like, Jerry Jones actually said that on an Instagram live, on Jamie Foxx's Instagram live. And so it got so bad, Jamie Foxx had to cut it off. Talking about one of the funniest guys in a generational comedian who Jamie Foxx has had his share of raunchy jokes, and he doesn't play it safe for anybody in terms of some of the type of comedy that he does. So it's not like we're talking about this conservative comedian who, bites his tongue. No. This is Jamie Foxx here. This guy was dressed in drag on Living Color, as Wanda. So if Jamie Foxx, if something is too much for Jamie Foxx, as far as where he says, "Hey, that's taking it too far," it's bad. And again, Jerry, I'm not going to get all the way into the conversation with Jerry Jones. That is some old, I saw some comments. It is some slave type shit. In terms of just white owner discussing black men's bodies, and it's a deeper conversation that we get into in regards to it. But that just shows you where this franchise is at in terms of how it's everything but about football. And Jerry Jones is the number one reason why this franchise will not see the light of day as far as competing for a championship anytime soon. And then Jerry comes out, well, I'm taking full responsibility. Jerry, no shit. It's on you. We know it's on you. It's on me. Well, no shit, Jerry. We know it's on you. We know you're the problem. But the franchises, they are a weak franchise from top to bottom. They're weak. That's all there is to it. They are weak. Baltimore went into that building and kicked their ass up and down the field. And again, forget about the comeback. Forget about that. That Baltimore fell asleep at the wheel in the fourth quarter. I heard Tom Brady, this is fight. We were down 28-3 and we got one score. And Tom's trying to do his first of all, he's trying to make it about himself. Let's not get that. Tom. As soon as he started telling that story when they were down 28-6, you knew 28-3 was coming. You knew they were going to start talking about that. You knew he was going to. We knew that was coming. But that's fine. The game was getting out of reach, and he was probably start thinking about maybe possibly having some field time because it gotten so bad. But that comeback doesn't mean anything, and that comeback doesn't show any fight. You're coming off an embarrassing loss at home to New Orleans, and you have to be down 28-6 to show some fight. Give me a break. Again, this team is not. We know how to attack the Dallas Cowboys. You hit them at the point of, you hit them right in the mouth. You can run the ball at them at any time you want to. You can run the ball on them. Anybody can run the football on Dallas Cowboys. And I can't take you serious as a defense. I can't take you serious as a team if your run defense is that poor, is that weak. Again, 274 yards rushing. 274 yards in an NFL game when you know the other team wants to run the ball. But Baltimore's not disguising what they're trying to do. They're not trying to trick you. They're going to run the ball with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry. And to me, the key for Baltimore I think the key to the Baltimore season is Derrick Henry. I'm not saying Derrick Henry has to go out there and be the Derrick Henry of, 2019, 2020, when he was one of the best running backs in the league as a Tennessee Titan. I'm not saying he has to be that dude, but you need a study diet of Derrick Henry to take the pressure off Lamar Jackson, and he gives them that physical presence as a running back that that Baltimore needs. I mean, he is a Baltimore Raven. This guy was born to play for the Baltimore Ravens in terms of the mentality, the physical play, the style of running he is. Now again, we know that probably his best days are behind him as far as being a top back, but he doesn't need to be a top back to be on that team. You give him, I would say, 13 to 16 carries, and you're good. And he still can soften the defense up and still allow Lamar Jackson Lamar Jackson can allow him some openings to have easier rush lanes, running lanes. I really think Derrick Henry is going to play a major factor in their season. As far as Atlanta, Kansas City goes, not a very well played game to say the least. It wasn't the most engaging game that you'll ever see. Only 12 points scored in the second half. Kansas City you know, again, finds ways to win. A game that they didn't play great. Patrick Mahomes, was okay in this game. Kansas City, now again, this is what Kansas City does. Kansas City is able to win the game with defense and running the football. This is what they have morphed into becoming, what they've morphed into. This is what they are right now. Like, they don't, the scary part is they don't have to have Patrick Mahomes play A level football, A plus football, or A football for them to win games. This game, Patrick Mahomes was probably at a B minus, and they went on the road. They rushed for 128 yards, and their defense, holds Atlanta in check for the most part, and does what they had to do to again win a game where they didn't play great. That they beat Atlanta probably as a team with their B minus game. You want to say on the road, okay, B minus, solid B. They didn't play great in this game, but they're 3-0 right now. They again, this is a team that through 3 games have only won their 3 games by a total of 13 games. 13 points. Which tells you that they are more than comfortable in one-score games. They are so comfortable in one-score games. They have the best kicker. They have the best kicker in football right now. I don't think without question. Justin Tucker missed a 46-yard, another field goal this week. 46 yards against Dallas. Matter of fact, the guy from Dallas actually might be up there as well. This dude's kicking it. He is a 65-yarder, so he can kick him from anywhere. But Kansas City just knows how to win in every shape, way, or form, and they don't have to score 30, 40 points to beat you. Those days, we saw what they were about last year. The defense, the kicking game, Mahomes making enough plays. You look at it. Mahomes this year, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Kelce has been awful. Like Kelce, hey man, you gotta go back to change the haircut, man. You gotta, he was a Swiftie. Yeah, you gotta go back with the what happened to the? You gotta go back to with the fade and the beard. Come on, man. Come on. You let Taylor take the soul out of you and mess your game up. So, but yeah, listen, he's old. He's clearly aging as a tight end. Is in the twilight of his career. It even somewhat hinted towards retirement, even in off season. So this wouldn't be surprised if this was his last year. But he'll have his moments during the season. But again, they don't have to be clicking on all cylinders. That's the thing about the Chiefs. They don't have to be clicking on all cylinders for them to win games, and that's what separates them from everybody else in the league. Excellent game. This game I thought was going to be the game of the week until the Washington Cincinnati game. Excellent game down in New Orleans. Important game for the Eagles. The Eagles get by the Saints with a big time win, 15-12, in a defensive just a game that that if you're a defensive purist, you had to love. This game was 3-0 New Orleans heading into the fourth quarter. You get a wild fourth quarter, 24 points. New Orleans, Philadelphia completely shuts down New Orleans' just high-powered offense, which was coming into the week, has scored 91 points in the first 2 games. They absolutely shut that down, and New Orleans basically did next to nothing. New Orleans only had 219 yards of total offense. Derek Carr, 14-25 or 142 at 1 touchdown, 1 interception. No A.J. Brown. No A.J. Brown in this game. No problem for Philadelphia. Saquon Barkley continues to play great. 17 carries, 147 yards, including a 65-yard touchdown, which probably was the biggest play offensively in this game. Give Philadelphia a lot of credit. This was a game that this is a very important game for Philadelphia as a franchise. Philadelphia, if you look back, Philadelphia had not won a big time game going. You got to go back to the latter part. You have to go back to midway through the season, week 11, when they took out Kansas City 21-17 in Week 11. That's their last big time win. Week 11 of last season. So a very important win for Philadelphia for their franchise. Especially coming off that loss against Atlanta, a game that they probably should have won, that they blew, allowing Kirk Cousins in Philadelphia to go down the field and with a game-winning touchdown, which was embarrassing. That should never happen at home, and especially the way he did it. Important game for Philadelphia. I think for the franchise to feel good about themselves. Again, they only outscored their opponents about 7 points through 3 games, but it doesn't matter. They are clearly the heads and shoulders above anybody in this division. To be honest with you, Washington, I know it's 2-1. Washington's not ready. The Giants aren't any good, and Dallas is Dallas. Like, I don't know what. I have no expectations of what of Dallas this year. So this is absolutely Philadelphia's division to lose. Now, again, Philadelphia can be. We know they have a lot of talent. This was the first game that the pass rush really this year that you really saw some of that pass rush that we used to see, that we have seen the past couple of years, especially their Super Bowl year. Defensively, they absolutely shut down the Saints. Saints couldn't do anything offensively. So that was the most important aspect of this game, that defensively, that they held the Saints to 12 points and 12 first downs. And again, look, I wasn't even through the first 2 games with the Saints. First of all, I toss out the Carolina game. Carolina's awful. We understand they have their issues upon issues. The Dallas win was impressive, but that doesn't look as good now considering how Dallas has played the last 2 weeks. So, listen, I still think the Saints are going to score a lot of points, but I think when they come up against a physical team, a team that has Super Bowl caliber talent, then that's a whole different deal. And again, to be frank with you, there are not that many teams in the AFC that can play as physical and it has the type of talent that Philadelphia has. We're talking on their best day, maybe San Francisco, possibly Green Bay when they get everybody back. But that list is very short in the NFC. So I think the Saints are fine as far as a team that can make the playoffs. They'll be battling Tampa Bay for that division. And I'm not high on Atlanta. I told you Atlanta coming in the summer podcast, in my NFL preview podcast, were probably one of the most overrated teams in the league. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. And again, I just don't have any faith in Atlanta and their culture. So the Saints are fine. They're not. I'm not going to overreact to them losing like this. And I actually saw some good things out of their defense. I know they give them a ton of yards, but they, their pass rush got to Hurts a bit, knocked them out, forced a couple of turnovers. So Saints have talent. But this was about Philadelphia. This is about Philadelphia getting back that old feeling of physicality, not having to depend on Jalen Hurts to make every single play. And again, they did this without A.J. Brown. We know how important A.J. Brown is to that offense, one of the best receivers in the league. So, good job. A great win for Philadelphia. And again, they are absolutely heads and shoulders the class of that division. San Francisco falls to the Rams 27-24. This was just a bad loss for San Francisco. The Rams that came in not playing well at all, came in 0-2. The Detroit game loss, that was you can live with that on the road, but the Rams got smacked around last week, and we really were looking out of sorts. You're up 14-0. Brock Purdy's playing well, and next thing you know, you lose 27-24. Bad fourth quarter for the San Francisco defense, to say at least. Stafford wasn't even spectacular in this game. I mean, Stafford was okay, 16-25, 221. No Cooper Kupp for the Rams. again, no Christian McCaffrey for San Francisco, but still, this is a game you absolutely should have won. And again, there's something about San Francisco that I just don't that just rubs me the wrong way right now. I don't like the energy with that team right now. I just don't. It seems like there's a sense that they can turn it on and off when they want to, and they got that in them. They got that kind of seeming energy going for them. Again, we know they're talented. We know they have a ton of experience, a ton of championship experience as far as getting to the Super Bowl and getting to multiple conference championship games. But at a certain point, you wonder again if that door or that window has closed. And sometimes it happens before you realize it that it is shut. Again, Purdy was not the problem in this game. Don't have a problem with Purdy in this game. Again, their defense falling apart in the fourth quarter. That was a problem in this game. There's no way the Rams without Cooper Kupp should have been able to come back and win this game. Both teams fall at 1-2. Both teams are 2 games behind the 3-0 Seahawks. Who won the week? Shohei Ohtani. I was very tempted to have Jade Daniels, very close to having Jade Daniels, but I figured, didn't want to do too much Commanders and seem like a homer. Having my team, win the game, and the quarterback played great. Shohei Ohtani won the week. He goes, as of right now, as of this evening, as of Tuesday, he has 53 home runs, 55 stolen bases. Of course, created his own club, the 50-50 club. He's going to win his 3rd MVP. This guy is the best thing in baseball, right? He's by far the best player in baseball. It's not even close. That he's by far the best player in baseball, the most exciting player in baseball, a guy that we've never seen a player like this in the history of baseball, like a guy that who's going to be now a 3-time MVP, and 2 times he's going to win unanimous MVP for the 2nd time in his career. And he's going one day. I mean, this guy could win a Cy Young Award. 2022, he was 16, 15-9, and finished 4th in the Cy Young Award in the American League. Again, one of the most unique talents in the history of baseball. He's only 30 years old. This guy is his at bats are must see TV every time he gets on the stage at the plate, and he will be a must watch in the postseason to see what this guy can do and will do. He seems to he likes the big lights, loves playing in LA. Again, I never even we've seen a few guys go 40-40. Saw Bonds do it, A-Rod do it. But 50-50 that's just like, I never even thought about anybody having a chance to go 50-50. Do 50-50 is just ridiculous. And again, this is a guy who's only 30 years old. Like, some of his best baseball could be ahead of him. Is the scary part for him for the rest of the National League. And again, his first year in LA immediately was first year he had been playing with the Angels, but his first year playing some meaningful baseball. Okay, the Angels had no chance for his tenure with them. They were just not competitive. But you go in the pressure cooker, playing for a storied franchise like the Dodgers, getting a contract to 09, and he hasn't missed a beat. This guy is a generational talent. He, again, is a baseball player, the likes that we've never seen before. One of the most gifted players that you will ever see, period, point blank. He has that type of talent. And he is, if you're a baseball fan, every time this guy's at the plate, you have to stop to watch to see what he can possibly do. He's that special. So he wins the week. And again, the question to me is, how many MVPs will he win? He's going to have 3 at the age of 30. The record is Barry Bonds with 7. I mean, I would say the over under, he ends up with probably like 5. He's going to win 2 more after this. He's for sure going to win 2 more. So I would say at least 4 to 5. If I would pick, I would pick about five. Listen, 4 more MVPs after this would be a lot to tie Bonds for seven. That's a lot to say that he would win 4 more MVPs. But he for sure could win after he wins this one. Could win at least 2 more after this one. I mean, he's only again 30. He's going to have 3 by the age of 30. So take that into consideration. Going to leave with some real thoughts or a real thought. Janet Jackson comes out with just this ridiculous comment on a couple of days over the weekend in regards to Kamala Harris. Of course, she did an interview with The Guardian, and Janet claims that she heard Kamala Harris's father was white. Here's the article. Well, what they supposedly said. She's promoting her new tour. She asked me, she's not black. That's what I heard. That she's Indian. This is Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson talking. She looks at me expectingly, perhaps assuming that I have some Indian heritage. This is the reporter. Well, she's both, I offered. The reporter gave her a chance to get this right, but she still didn't take advantage of that. Her father's white. That's what I was told. This was Janet. That's what I was told. I mean, I haven't watched the news in a few days, probably mean a few years. She coughs. I was told that they discovered her father was white. Think about that line for a second. Think about that quote. I was told that they discovered her father was white. Just let that sink in. Let that marinate. I'm floored at this point. This is the reporter. It's well known that Harris's father is a Jamaican economist, a Stanford professor who split from her Indian mother when she was 5. My mother understood very well she was raising 2 black daughters, Harris wrote in her book, The Truth We Hold. And then later, Janet, doubles down on the quote after her alleged manager basically tried to, recant it and say, hey, we apologize. And he apparently got fired. And she says, that's not my real manager. My manager is Randy Jackson. And we going to basically double down. We're not taking back anything that was said in regards to that. So here's the thing. It's nothing new for a celebrity to make a dumbass comment about politics. We see that. We've seen that all the time. Number one, I am happy, overjoyed that Kamala Harris has not responded or reacted to this. Because frankly, and again, there are a lot more people. There are people who are in the political landscape who are smarter than me, who know more about who've forgotten more about this than me, than I will ever know in terms of politics, who think that Kamala should respond and should come out and say, hey, I'm a black woman. You don't have to Kamala Harris does not have to litigate her identity to no one. Okay. We're up. It's almost October. We're approaching 40 days left until the election. It's almost end game here. This is nothing but the okie doke distraction. If I'm with the Harris campaign, I'm not giving this shit any energy whatsoever. At all. This is not worth it at this point in the election. Number one, the people who actually believe this shit, they're not voting for her anyway. So if you entertain this, you're probably either voting for Trump or sitting out the election. You're not voting for and undecided, by the way, and if you're undecided, this is not going to sway you to Donald Trump by hearing this, if you're undecided. And I don't believe, be honest with you, that Kamala coming out saying that she's a black woman would sway those undecideds into her camp. I just don't believe it. So there's really nothing to be gained for Kamala Harris to come out and give this any energy. Nothing. The people right-wing conspiracy theories, they're going to continue to come up with these dumbass narratives about her race and just try to find distractions to take the attention off policies and things of that nature, stuff that actually matters in terms of our day-to-day lives. But the race thing, the race bait is nothing to fall for. You can't go for the okie doke. And again, say what you want about Kamala. I don't care what you think about her. You can't question how great of a campaign that she's run. She has run a top tier campaign. She's run a close to an A+ campaign. Period. Every move she's made has been a great move. Destroys Trump at the debate. Tim Walz as a vice VP nominee or candidate, not candidate, but as a VP choice. She's not feeding into. Now you want to knock her. You could knock her for the CNN interview, given that that's the one. I mean, if you want to, but that would be reaching. But even that, she addressed finally, giving the reporters their interview. So and by the way, not bending to the pressure of doing interviews because people said she should do interviews. She did it on her own time, not when we said she should do it. So she's running a nearly flawless campaign. Given this dumbass comment by Janet Jackson, any energy would somewhat taint that and be a bad move for her. And I'm glad. And I don't foresee her giving this any energy, nor should she. And this statement will have these comments about Janet will have no bearing whatsoever on the election. Anybody with half a brain understands that Kamala is a black woman whose mother was Indian. It's just that simple. Like that's it. And again, the celebrities we just have to understand that our celebrities in politics just not a good mix. A lot of our black celebrities are out here just talking out their asses. A lot of it is grifting. A lot of it they're doing it for the check, the attention. I think Janet was doing it for the attention. To be honest with you, let me say something that'll get them talking, get more attention to my tour. So it is what it is. From that standpoint, again, I don't think anybody who is a serious voter will allow these comments to sway their vote one way or the other. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Real Deal Podcast. I will see you next time. Have a great rest of your week. So long.